Hey everybody, Christian here with KQ Fitness, back here to talk about another fundamental human movement pattern that we do in our everyday lives, the hinge, aka the deadlift. So I'm going to walk you through how to do it with several pieces of equipment here. Um, just basically focusing on the main cues that will guide you through uh, the perfectly executed hinge. So we'll start with the kettlebell first. Place this off to the side. So one of the principles, if you do have a kettlebell or whenever you're just lifting an object around the house, whether it's a box, it's a potted plant, something like that, proper lifting techniques to be able to keep that back nice and neutral as you lift something and bringing yourself closer to that object, so bringing your center of gravity closer to that object to be able to safely lift it, to avoid throwing out the back, causing any type of muscle strain. So that's the goal here. Okay, so be able to teach the right principles there. So very similar to a squat, we're going to start with feet shoulder width apart. So just lined up with the hips here. Now, if it's a kettlebell and it has a nice little handle like this one, then I want to actually line up my mid feet with the handle. As I do this, a lot of the principles that we use in a squat kind of overlap here. So what we're going to do, we're going to already tilt our pelvis forward. So we're going to tilt that forward. Basically, this waistband of your shorts or your pants in the back are higher than in the front. So that's going to allow you to, as you lower down towards the ground, kind of get you ready to send the butt or the glutes behind the heels here as you lower yourself lower, 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 lower. I want to keep my chest up like the squat. So chest stays forward. And then I'm going to reach down for that object here. So I'm going to pick that up. And it's called a deadlift because you don't want to you actually use, you want that force to come from your legs. You don't want to really use the arms to kind of bend or contract any type of extension there. It should just be like a dead lift. So the arms are kind of just dead. They're kind of just staying put there. They're reaching out for the object to clench on it, but that's all they're doing. So the shoulders are staying neutral here. We're not moving the shoulders or anything like that. All our movement is from the hips down. Okay, so we're focusing on that. So as I make my way down towards the ground here, similar to a squat, I want even distribution between the heels and the toes. As we discussed before, I want to tilt my pelvis forward to start that motion, so that way the glutes already start to aim for that position in that area behind the heels of our feet as we make our way down. Notice how my chest stays forward, also stays up. So by keeping the chest up, by also tilting the pelvis and sending the glutes behind the heels of the feet, you can kind of see that nice straight back, that neutral position that we want to keep. And that goes for any type of lifting that we do in our everyday lives here. So even if you didn't have a kettlebell, let's bring the band into the equation here. Put this band underneath my midfoot. This is just a full loop resistance band. Because it already has the stretch of this, the tension is already built into there. We want to start in our position already in the down position, picking up that object. I'm using this as the handles. Same principle here. I'm going to drive myself up. Now we can start to explain the motion. My chest stays up, my glutes, my pelvis will tilt forward, so my glutes will start to aim for that position behind my feet. As I make my way lower, 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 I tilt the pelvis more. Chest still stays forward. Tuck my head down to the lowest position so that back and the neck stay neutral. Drive myself back up. So a nice squeeze in the glutes there. So by keeping that back nice and neutral, we're loading a lot of that tension onto the quads and the glutes, especially with the deadlift into the glutes, because that's your main driver to come back up and as you set that position or that object down on the ground. So that's how to properly execute a hinge. Many of these cues will overlap with a squat, as it is very similar in terms of concept of movement, principles of keeping your back neutral, tilting your pelvis, being able to have an even weight distribution on your feet so you're not losing your balance forward or back. There are a lot of parallels there, but good to be able to start with the deadlift because that's one that we commonly use in our everyday life. When you're in and around the house lifting objects, just always making sure you're staying close to that object to effectively and safely lift it before actually activating the back, activating the glutes, activating those quads.